It may seem as though the world has actually gone mad at the moment, with riots, looting, anger and violence in the streets, and even though we've seen this before in isolated incidents or in other countries, when it's all around us it can seem surreal, as if the world has gone mad. And it's a scary place to be, because standing here you don't know what comes next. So how did we get to be here right now? I'd like to give you a perspective, a broader perspective of what I can see happening. A broader perspective is, instead of being in the forest and only being able to see trees, it's having a vantage point, say from a drone, where you can see not only the whole forest but how it fits into the landscape and beyond. Who am I? I'm Gail Marie from 6 Dimensions of Healing. I'm nobody important. I'm not a celebrity or a YouTube star. I'm not out to make money from you or push religion. Hey, I'm not even political. I've been a spiritual counsellor though for over 22 years, working with human behaviour, and for the past 14 of those years I've been specialising in moods. That's right, in moods or emotions. And because of what I've learned, I could see this chaos coming long before it surfaced. I'm not here to justify or give reasons or even give people excuses for the way they behave. This is just about helping you gain your power and your voice in this time of chaos, on what's become real in everyday life. In this way, you can begin to make choices that empower you rather than keep you in fear, insecurity and anger. So let's go back just a couple of short months to the beginning of April. I know it's close, but it seems a long time. Everything began to shut down. Cafes, bars, restaurants, gyms, manufacturing, service industries, companies that service those industries, airlines, schools, visitors and tourists, even libraries and museums. People were struggling before this happened. Then everything came to a standstill. Worldwide. Even I began to feel concerned, because Government 101 in any handbook says avoid mass fear and panic, because people become very unpredictable and that can be dangerous. Yet systematically we watch nearly every government in the world throw away that handbook and spread fear and panic throughout the people of every nation. They were afraid. How else could they get people to comply with giving up their jobs, isolating from one another, separating families and policing others to keep their distance? The consequence of that fear is that mass fear and panic spread across the world like a pandemic, and people began to feel afraid for their lives. And whenever fear and insecurity is spread throughout a community, it has devastating effects. When it's on a nationwide or worldwide scale, it's really unimaginable until it happens. And the consequences are huge. So all this fear and insecurity was laying fuel like logs that seem innocent enough until they get piled higher and higher. On a mood map, which is your internal emotional guide, this is the ideal place to be. Feeling great, loving, inspired, feeling free. It's a powerful place to stand. Things are working out for you, synchronicities happen, you're in the right place at the right time. Ideas and inspiration that change the world flow, and they come from being in this space. We may not quite reach that level on a regular basis, but that's our natural state of mood. And the further we are from that state of emotion, the worse we feel. So when fear and powerlessness are induced, we immediately drop all the way down to feeling fearful. Many people even get depressed and they take their own lives. And while the world is in fear, all is quiet. There is a silent hush over the nation. The world is united in fear and all is very quiet. People are easy to handle. But in that silence, they're taking in information, and insecurity begins to settle in. Rather than feel depressed, there's uncertainty about what's going to happen. There seems like very little hope that things will ever be the same again, and people teeter-totter between insecurity and powerlessness. The next stop along the mood map is revenge and hatred. The moods they're an outlet for rage that's built up inside, not just over a month, but probably for many years, and they've just been pushed down. Then the next inevitable step on the road to regaining your personal power is anger. Everybody gets angry sometimes, and as a nation, we've even dealt with angry groups of people. There are always radical groups that are constantly angry. So why don't we buy into those groups? What's different now? Because most of us hang around here normally in contentment and optimism and enthusiasm, even boredom. And unless you're jolted out of that orbit, then it's easy to ignore what's going on down here. From where you're normally standing, anger doesn't feel good or powerful, so you don't go there. But when you're coming from a direction of fear, insecurity and powerlessness, there are steps to taking back your power. And revenge is one, and hatred and rage is another, then anger, and you keep going up step by step, taking your personal power back. We all have to visit anger on our way up. And just like a virus, the nation can handle a certain amount of anger. But when hundreds of millions of people have created fuel from that powerlessness, it just takes a spark of hatred to ignite millions of angry fires across the nation and the world. When you personally are experiencing anger, then there are three choices. You stay where you are, go back to feeling fearful, or move up the map towards hopefulness and some semblance of normality. As you can see, anger is a poor master. It incites riots, kills people, devastates communities, and is terrible for states and nations. But it also helps you make choices. Anger helps you decide what's important to you and what isn't. Anger is the beginning of taking back your power, but the longer you stay in it, the less powerful you feel. And when you decide that this cause is worth fighting, looting, or being violent for, then think again, because you've lost your power. Anger has never brought about change. It's only brought about hatred and more segregation. Taking action with anger only incites anger and more hatred. It creates more of what you don't want. It creates huge subdivisions of separation. What does bring about change is the action that comes from inspiration. Feeling inspired and then taking action is the most powerful place you can stand. It unites people of all nations and empowers them. One inspired person taking action is much more powerful than a million who aren't. That's why when you find an inspired leader, huge change occurs, the type that Gandhi created. You don't need to let go of your cause, but you do need to let go of fear and the hatred and the anger, because inspiration and anger don't live together. You're either inspired or you're angry. Inspired is powerful. People will listen and it will create change, while anger only creates hatred and resentment and divides a nation. Look after your own mood and feel as good as you can as often as you can. Take walks in nature, use relaxation techniques or meditation daily to quiet your mind so that you can become an inspired and powerful leader in yourself, your home, your community, and your nation. Then, when you're inspired, it's time to take massive action. If you'd like a copy of this mood map, I'll leave a link below. And if you'd like to ask any questions about mood or what you're going through, you're welcome to write them in the comments below. Thank you for listening. Remember to share and like and subscribe to this channel. Share this with somebody who's feeling afraid, and it will help them to feel their power once again.